We had some questions related to mobility, transportation, and all, and we thought we'll discuss it. And Hi, so today we have something really interesting. We have Soham and Jinodia. So they are students from the Bachelor's of Industrial Design, a product design program, and so this was again an impromptu session that we kind of thought we will probably capture it so that they had some questions related to mobility, transportation, and all, and we thought we'll discuss it and see if it is something that students these days they want to align to it, or they want to look at something. What are some of the misconceptions? And so I will try to answer things best to my knowledge. Yes. And let us see how the discussion goes from here.
When we dabbled into mobility design, that was for a brief period of time. Exactly. Where we worked on a concept and it was more output focused. Mm-hmm. So then my basic question being that I was never inclined towards transportation design as such, but I have grown my interest in mobility. Mm-hmm. So how is transportation different than mobility?
Really interesting question to kind of look at. The way I see the evolution of car design and all, I think it started somewhere when design also started as a part of architects. Kind of their training brought the need of design was there, and that's where a lot of them converted. And then design also emerged as something new. Also, it was something that existed, but as a profession, something like architecture was, it came in as a profession because there was absolute need for that. And slowly industrial design, product design, and design as such slowly came to knowledge as a discipline somewhere later. So I would say, looking or to talk about mobility, that's where I thought probably an introduction and in this part would be fine. So mobility and transportation was it started because styling also came into place. When General Motors introduced their first styling studio and all. So at that time, I think if you look at General Motors, which was in the US, so expression was one of the main things that gave way to styling as such, and which from there has traveled for a long time into what we know car design as today. So car design started with people from the art background, and also from the technical background. Where they it started again with a need, right? In the US, it started with probably building something which catered to each era, like the space era. Then came the fuel crisis. So all of these also led to car design kind of transforming on its own. Whereas in Europe, they had much smaller streets. In Italy is where I would say probably the three wheelers and all played a major role or originated, where we have the auto rickshaws of today. In India also we have a similar, uh, you know, similar society to address problems, and that's where these solutions fit in, and these automobiles fit in. But looking at car design and how it has come across, it has also been a very flashy field where you see a lot of renders, fancy things, a lot of form being used, and um, where you see that expression and emotion is playing a huge role in design. So that part is it has to again do with the technology that each period came up with. So IC engines played a major role, or are still playing a major role. Yeah. And that is where the world which we come to know as today needed transportation, and uh, countries where there are more routes, where there are more people wanting to travel with cars, wanting to express themselves, that in a way gave way to car design, transportation as today, where we look at just the product, right? We look at uh, a beautiful car, or a van, or all of those existing as singular. But it is also at the same time that system design, or if the system perspective of transportation uh, was always there, because transportation or cars cannot exist in isolation. They use roads as systems. If it is trucks, they also use that. So a lot of day-to-day needs that we have, like water, milk, or grocery, everything gets transported because we have mobility solutions. And that's where again I would say that mobility as such, the aspect of that is coming into play. Where if you look at a system perspective, where we have people, goods, and other items that need to be transported, or that need to be at one place, but it is not available. So that is where mobility plays a key role in getting things from one place to another. If I put it in a very, very simple way.
Okay.
So, mobility design, to address your question, I would say the way it is evolving right now is this holistic approach, where we are not looking at just individual aesthetic or individual function of just one car or one boat, or one truck. Rather, we are looking at the whole system and trying to solve it from a person living in a place, to getting him to work and getting him back to work, in which you might have a lot of modes of transportation or mobility. And the way I see mobility, I also have this perspective where I say, like, if I have to reach from where we are sitting to the mess, that is also mobility. And it has to cater to not only us, but it has to cater to people with different needs, right? So, uh, motion, mobility, and all that, I try to kind of put those keywords in one space, so that it kind of makes sense to me to understand the whole thing. So mobility and mobility design as such, I think it is going to play a greater role than car design or transportation and automobile design and all. But at the same time, transportation designers, car designers also play a crucial role in bringing the product knowledge into the whole system knowledge that we need, so that problems can be solved. Does that kind of answer your perspective, or has it caused more confusion?
No, that quite answered quite well.
So, what were some of the ideas that you had initially?
So, so initially I looked at mobility as a more tamer or a dumbed down version of transportation design, to be honest,
Okay.
where styling is a part, but it's not like having a center stage. That even if you see in an economic car, styling is a part, but if you see a mobility solution, like scooters like Yulu or any other mobility, there the design is more utilitarian. So I was looking at through aesthetics and styling way, but this is a new perspective where a systemic level of thinking is also backing a mobility system.
Exactly. I think it's also like the micro and macro approach that we have. So what is the
One
next
more
thing that
question is,
you want to?
so we do realize that, so when we say mobility, the first thing is we are looking at it from the perspective of newer technology that comes in, levitating cars, flying cars. But is there more to that? Is it just a technological development, or the way future mobility will be different than what we are imagining right now in terms of service?
That is really interesting, because if you look at the evolution of world, every system has evolved along its way in history. So I would say the mobility system, the kind of connections, the kind of transport that we have, if we are specifically looking in that domain, has also slowly evolved from where it is. And we have evolved from an era where we had scarcity of transport to where we have scarcity of vehicles to where we have an abundance of vehicles, which are causing its own problems. But looking at India, we also have problems where we have a huge gap in last mile mobility, right? And I think that is where as designers we kind of imagine and make solutions. So to give power for those imaginations to become reality, that's where this technology plays its part.
Okay.
So technology evolves again along its own path, right? And also technology also evolves because of certain discoveries, because of people working in that goal. So it is also, we say there is some technology like levitation that could be used in the field of mobility. We have technological solution and we are trying to adapt it into the domain of transportation. Maybe like maglev and all. Maglev, the technology might have been discovered long. I'm not sure when it was discovered. But how or where can we use it in the field of mobility is through maglev trains.
Okay.
So again, if being a huge fan of movies like Back to the Future and all, I think it was 2015 or something where they said they'll have flying cars. But we do have flying cars right now, but can we call them flying cars is another question, because those are more like drones, right? So and I think in the next 5 to 10 years also people are in process of developing these drones in especially in India also across various institutes and all, people are trying to do that. So technology evolves, transportation evolves, our needs also evolve, and all this kind of are present in the world. It's how you take those and integrate it and take it beyond that creates. But also technology also evolves due to the needs that we have. We have the need of a flying car, that's why we create it, right? So that is my take on technology.